At night, Texas changes. The heat drains from the air, the wind softens, highways quiet, porch lights flicker on across miles of open land, and fields that look peaceful by day turn into battlegrounds. Because somewhere beyond the tree line, a 300-pound shadow moves, then another, then 5, then 20 more. Low grunts cut through the dark, hooves press into soft soil, noses lower to earth, and the invasion begins. By sunrise, entire acres are destroyed, irrigation lines ripped open, corn flattened like it was steamrolled.
In Texas, they're going hog wild over wild hogs. The feral animals are causing hundreds of millions of dollars of damage to crops across the state.
Freshly planted seedlings churned into mud, and the farmers who worked those fields for months stand in silence, hats in hand, boots sunk into ruined soil, staring at devastation that took hours to create and an entire season to grow. These aren't storms, they aren't machines, they're wild hogs. And for years, Texas was losing the war until farmers stopped hunting and started engineering. Chapter 1, The Night Raiders. To understand the scale of this crisis, you have to see it through a farmer's eyes. Imagine planting a 40-acre cornfield. You calculate rainfall patterns, you take out loans, you invest in seed, fuel, machinery, labor, irrigation systems buried carefully underground. You monitor growth daily. You watch green shoots break through soil. You measure stalk height. You pray the weather cooperates. Months of work, months of patience. Then one night, a sounder of 25 feral hogs slips through a weak fence line. They don't just eat, they root. They dig with muscular necks and reinforced snouts. They flip soil like bulldozers. They tear irrigation hoses apart, searching for moisture. They trample rows in chaotic patterns. They destroy far more than they consume. What they leave behind looks like artillery impact. Deep craters, twisted lines, uprooted crops drying under the rising sun. In just a few hours, they can cause tens of thousands of dollars in damage. And this isn't rare, it's routine. Feral hogs have spread across more than 35 states, but Texas is ground zero. With over 2.6 million wild hogs, it holds the largest population in America, and they're not slowing down. They're multiplying. Fast. Chapter 2, How Texas Got Here. Wild hogs weren't always this dominant. Their roots trace back centuries. Spanish explorers brought domestic pigs to North America in the 1500s. Many escaped. They adapted. Later, Eurasian wild boars were introduced for sport hunting in the 1900s. Some broke free. They interbred with feral domestic pigs. The result? A hybrid animal, hardier, smarter, more aggressive, more adaptable. Over time, they spread quietly, across brush country, across ranch land, across river bottoms. And then population growth exploded. Because wild hogs possess one of the most dangerous traits in invasive species: explosive reproduction. A single female can produce 2 litters per year, 6 to 12 piglets per litter. Breeding maturity at just 6 months of age. Under ideal conditions, a population can triple in a single year. No hunting season restrictions. No natural environmental checks strong enough to slow them. And unlike deer or cattle, hogs have almost no natural predators in Texas. Mountain lions? Rare. Wolves? Extinct in the region. Coyotes? Only target small piglets. Adult boars can weigh over 400 pounds. They develop thick cartilage shields over their shoulders that act like natural body armor. They carry razor-sharp tusks capable of slicing through muscle. They swim rivers. They adapt to heat. They survive drought. They aren't just destructive, they're built for survival. Chapter 3, The True Cost. For many outside agriculture, wild hogs are a curiosity. For farmers, they are economic disaster. Texas agriculture contributes billions annually to the state economy. Corn, cotton, sorghum, rice, peanuts, livestock operations, hogs damage all of it. They root through pastures, creating ankle-breaking holes for cattle and horses. They attack newborn lambs and goats. They raid feed storage areas. They contaminate water tanks with fecal bacteria. They spread diseases including brucellosis, pseudorabies, swine fever, leptospirosis, diseases that threaten livestock industries and occasionally humans. Statewide damage estimates climbed into the hundreds of millions annually. Insurance claims surged. Small farms folded. Multi-generation operations felt pressure they'd never faced before. For some families, it wasn't about inconvenience, it was about survival. Chapter 4. Why bullets weren't enough for decades, hunting was the primary control method. Texas allowed year-round hog hunting. No bag limits. Night hunting permitted. Farmers used night vision optics, thermal scopes, suppressors, helicopter eradication hunts, trained tracking dogs, and, yes, they killed thousands. But here's the problem. Hogs learn. They are highly intelligent mammals. When you shoot into a sounder once, the survivors adapt. They shift feeding to deeper night hours, avoid open fields, become trap shy, scatter into smaller groups that are harder to track. Worse, killing only part of a sounder can increase breeding rates among survivors. Biologists call this compensatory reproduction. When population pressure increases, reproductive output increases. So farmers were trapped in a vicious cycle. Hunt, reduce slightly, population rebounds stronger. Hogs weren't being eliminated, they were being educated. It became clear, this wasn't a shooting problem, it was a systems problem. Chapter 5, Studying the Enemy. Wild hog intelligence surprises most people. They rank high among mammals in problem-solving ability. They remember danger zones. They recognize vehicle sounds. They detect human scent patterns. They communicate through complex grunts and body language. Each sounder is typically led by dominant females. Older sows often hang back, while younger pigs test new spaces first. If something feels wrong, the entire group withdraws. That meant traditional traps failed for one simple reason. They triggered too early. The first few hogs entered, the gate dropped, the rest escaped. And those escaped hogs, they never fell for that trap again. Trail camera footage showed something startling. Hogs would approach traps cautiously, circle them, send smaller pigs in first. Wait, they were testing, learning, teaching each other. So experts reached a breakthrough conclusion. You cannot catch part of a sounder, you must catch all of it, at once. Chapter 6. The Engineering Shift. The solution didn't come from better rifles, it came from better design. Farmers began collaborating with wildlife biologists and agricultural engineers. Instead of small box traps, they developed massive circular enclosures, corral traps, 20 to 40 feet in diameter, heavy steel livestock panels, reinforced wire mesh, deep-set anchoring posts driven into earth. But size alone wasn't the innovation. Technology was. They integrated motion-activated trail cameras, cellular transmitters, live video streaming, remote-controlled drop gates, app-based activation systems. Now, instead of guessing, farmers could watch, in real time, from their homes, from their trucks, from miles away. They could observe behavior patterns, count animals, identify dominant sows, track group dynamics, and most importantly, wait. Chapter 7. The Waiting Game. The smartest part of the system wasn't the steal, it was patience. Farmers didn't activate the trap immediately. They pre-baited for days, sometimes weeks. They placed fermented corn inside the open corral. Hogs entered freely. No danger, no sudden noise, no gate movement. Trust was built. The sounder returned night after night. Entering the corral became normal, routine, safe. Trail cameras showed piglets playing inside, boars feeding calmly, entire groups relaxing within the enclosure. And then, one night, when every single hog was inside, the farmer tapped a button. The gate fell. Silently. Because it wasn't triggered by a tripwire, it wasn't mechanical guesswork. It was human-controlled precision. Entire sounder, captured at once. No survivors left to educate the next generation. For the first time, farmers weren't reacting. They were strategizing. Chapter 8. Why circular design mattered. The circular shape wasn't aesthetic. It was behavioral science. Corners create panic clustering. Clustering creates pressure points. Pressure points create escape opportunities. In square traps, hogs pile into corners. They push. They climb over each other. They exploit weaknesses. Circular traps distribute force evenly. No corners, no escape leverage, no focal pressure points. Heavy gauge steel prevents bending. Mesh prevents climbing. Reinforced base prevents digging. Because hogs can dig several inches deep within minutes, so panels are often buried underground. Every element was engineered around hog behavior. This wasn't just containment, it was psychological warfare. Chapter 9. Results that shocked experts. When counties began adopting smart corral systems statewide, the numbers changed. Population reduction reached up to 60% within a few years in coordinated areas. Crop damage decreased dramatically. Pastures recovered, insurance claims declined. Farmers reported saving $50,000, $80,000, even $100,000 annually. Helicopter hunts became supplemental rather than primary. Data sharing improved regional coordination. Some ranchers described it as the first time we felt like we were actually winning. And word spread. Oklahoma, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia, California, the model expanded nationwide. Texas became the blueprint. Chapter 10. Environmental recovery. Feral hog damage isn't just financial, it's ecological. They uproot native grasses, destroy ground-nesting bird habitats, increase erosion along riverbanks, spread invasive plant seeds, contaminate streams with bacteria. In heavily infested areas, entire ecosystems were shifting. Water clarity declined, songbird populations dropped, native plant regeneration stalled. But after sustained population reduction, native grasses returned, soil stabilized, bird nesting success improved, water contamination levels declined. Wildlife biologists documented measurable recovery. This wasn't just pest control, it was environmental restoration. Chapter 11, The Human Side Behind Every Trap, is a family. A farm passed down generations, photographs on living room walls, grandfather's tractor still in use, land deeds older than highways. For many Texas ranchers, this fight was personal. It wasn't about statistics, it was about legacy. Small farms operate on thin margins. One bad season can mean bankruptcy. Wild hog damage wasn't an inconvenience, it was existential. Sleep was lost. Loans stretched thin. Stress climbed quietly. And when the smart trap system began working, it restored more than crops. It restored control. It restored dignity. It restored hope. Chapter 12, Technology, evolves. Today, the system continues evolving. New features include AI software that identifies hog species automatically, automated gate triggers based on confirmed group size, drone scouting for remote properties, GPS tracking collars for migration mapping, predictive analytics identifying high-risk zones. Some systems now use machine learning to analyze feeding patterns. If a dominant sow hesitates outside the trap, the farmer knows to wait. If the group splits, the system tracks movement over weeks. Wildlife management is becoming high-tech, data-driven, predictive, and Texas remains at the forefront. Chapter 13, A Bigger Lesson. This story isn't just about hogs, it's about adaptation. When force failed, strategy succeeded. When frustration grew, innovation emerged. Farmers didn't complain endlessly. They studied, they collaborated, they engineered, they met intelligence with intelligence, and turned the tide. Extended cinematic closing. Tonight, somewhere in Texas, a sounder moves again. They cross fences, they scan the wind, they search for food. Moonlight glints off bristled backs. Piglets trot close to mothers. A heavy boar lags behind. They approach a clearing. In the center, a circular structure stands silent. They've entered before. There was food, no danger, no noise. So they enter again. One by one, piglets first, then sows, then the dominant female, then the boar. They feed, unaware, miles away, a farmer watches a glowing screen, his face lit blue in the dark, coffee untouched beside him. He doesn't rush, he waits, counts, confirms, 23, 24, 25, all inside. He exhales slowly, one breath, one tap. The gate falls, steel meets earth, the sound echoes faintly across the field. Inside, confusion erupts, but there are no corners, no weaknesses, no escape. And for the first time in years, the land wins. Not through rage, not through noise, but through patience, through engineering, through strategy. This is what happens when innovation meets invasion, when patience defeats chaos, when data defeats instinct, when ordinary farmers do extraordinary things. Because sometimes, the greatest breakthroughs begin in the darkest nights. And sometimes, victory doesn't come from pulling the trigger, it comes from pressing the right button, at the right moment. Fade to black.